to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Indz. If you're new here, I just want to say welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Indz and I hope that you subscribe so that you become part of the fam. And to my returning subscribers, I just want to say thank you so much for the loyalty, because over here I appreciate loyalty. Without any further ado, let's get right into this video. I thought that it would be much appropriate that I do a goal settings video, even though the year started in Jan. My year only started in March. I don't even want to lie to you. It started this month actually. In January I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't trying to plan or anything like that because I was so confused as to which direction I should be taking. Now it's not 100% clear, but then at least there's some kind of form of direction as to where I'm going, and I'm less anxious about it. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys how I set my goals. I guess this video is gonna probably help someone out there so that they may be able to set their own goals. And one thing that I know for sure is that it's never too late to set your goals, even if it's during the year. You're not bound to only setting goals at the beginning of the year. You're allowed to set them, restructure them, revisit them. Yeah, basically that's that. And one thing that has been happening to me is that I've been struggling to set goals because I think my goals weren't continuous. That's one thing I would say. They weren't continuing. It's goals that I wanted for a specific year, and once it didn't happen that year, it was done and dusted. And so I've been putting myself down because obviously I'm like, okay, I didn't achieve this goal, I didn't achieve that goal, and so why start again setting new goals for the new year? And I'm sure some people are feeling this type of way where they're like, what's the need for me to set new goals if I haven't reached and achieved my previous goals? And I think one thing that helped me to get out of that is I have decided to look at where I was, where I am, and where I want to be. So basically, let's say last year you wanted to get 80%. Each and every module wanted to get 80%, but you didn't get 80%. And now that goal this year, if you want to carry on with the same goal, you feel like it's overwhelming for you because last year you barely even passed. So the good thing to do is to start by saying, okay, I was unable to reach this goal, and the reason behind that, maybe you might know or you might not know. And after that, you're like, okay, what are the ways that I can put in place so that I may be able to do this? Because you can't just write things down and say, oh, I want to get 80% and not work towards that goal. And so your first thing is like, okay, how can I become a good student so that I may be able to understand my work? I constantly have to do readings. I constantly have to be on top of my game. I constantly have to consult as to what I understand and I don't understand. I need to make sure that I put in effort so that I may be able to know if I'm behind or if I'm not behind, what I know and what I don't know. Because you'll never be able to ask anyone if you yourself don't even know what you're struggling with. So you need to pay attention to such small things. And that's what has encouraged me, motivated me to actually start setting new goals for the year, because I wasn't looking at what I did not achieve, but rather where I came from and where I am now. Let's say I wanted to be emotionally well. What have I been putting in place so that I can be able to be emotionally well? Have I started going to therapy? Have I started journaling? Have I started doing things that I love most? So basically that's that. Imagine the way I spoke even without starting. So yeah, basically that's that, and that's how I got over the fact that there's some goals that you won't achieve in 1 year, and rather that when you're setting your goals, it's more of like for a lifestyle rather than to achieve that one goal. So I've divided my things into, I think, 4 sections. The first one for me is spiritual goals, and under that I wrote daily devotions, constantly involving God in each and everything that I do. I have this tendency of sometimes doing things on my own, and once I am in trouble, then I'm like, okay, I have a Father up in heaven. Rather than doing that, I really want to be at a point where I start doing things that He's the one that I go to first, rather than doing things and once I'm unable to, then I give over to Him. It's much more easier in that way, because then I know if I'm supposed to be doing this or I'm not supposed to do this. But honestly speaking, when it comes to spiritual goals, it's one of the most important things ever, because that's like your foundation of what you build each and everything on. it's very important that you take care of your spirit. I would never advise you to go make other goals without really just having a foundation in this one. Another thing is to be faithful in my tithes. There's a lot. It's also, I don't really want to say everything that's here, but like there's really just a lot when it comes to spirituality, really. And I was having a conversation with one of my brothers in Christ, and he was telling me as to the fact that he asked me, how am I doing spiritually? And now my first response was the fact that I see things, I have dreams, I'm having encounter with different people, and I'm seeing God in my life. And he was like, no, we need to understand that our spirituality is not measured by the external things. It's not measured by the external things, because you could be rich, you could be getting a lot of different things and prospering in all other avenues, but your spirituality could still be poor. And that has changed my mind completely as to how I look at spirituality. So that's what he was telling me, as the fact that it's more, I'm asking more about the relationship, the kind of relationship that you have with God. Do you spend some time with God? Do you let him lead? Do you are you constantly sacrificing yourself and giving your body over to God so that he may take over your life? So basically that's more or less those things. The second thing that is important is financial goals. Financial goals are very important. I think it's really one of the things that's going to set you apart as when you are an adult. That if you set your goals straight now in terms of saving, investing, and then you're set for the future. It's a principle that people need to start learning at a very young age so that they may be able to get into it while they're adults. Indeed, I don't know the saying. It's something about I don't know, like something about a child learning something while they're still young, because it's much more easier for them to learn it. So basically that's that. And for me, my goal this year is to actually just start to save. I truly believe in saving first before investing. I want to have a savings account where I have, like, for rainy days. Once I reach my goal as to how much money I want to have in that savings account, then I can start investing. And the savings apps that are there is Easy Equity app and Smash app. There are a lot of other apps. You guys can let me know if you guys would really want to know more about the different apps to use to save and invest. But yes, I have a savings account where I'm really just pouring all of my money in there so that I can be able to reach my goal. And once I reach my goal, then I'll be able to move to the next step so that I can be able to invest. While I'm saving, I'm really just learning as to tips and tricks as how to invest. What you need to know, investment 101, if you can say. So basically that's that. I really genuinely don't believe in you investing without you having savings and like a backup plan, because one thing is that the money that you invest, you're not necessarily going to get it now. You might get it in the 5 years to come. So what happens then if you have an issue? Now you have to liquidate your assets, your big money, so that you can be able to solve a minor problem, which you could have easily solved if you had savings, extra savings. When it comes to intellectual goals, it's really just that I may be able to know more about topics that I am very much interested in, and this has to do with finances, health and wellness. A few books that I definitely like to read is What I Know for Sure, which is Oprah Winfrey's book, and Bozo by Jesus, who sold his Ferrari. And when I listen to more podcasts about different topics and avenues, maybe I might get into politics. But one thing about me, when it comes to politics, I don't want to get involved, but maybe, so we get to know more. When it comes to my health goals, health goals are divided into subsections because it's mental, emotional, physical health. So when it comes to physical health, it's really just doing things that I love with my body, like maybe sport, maybe dance. And then emotional, one thing that I've been struggling with is setting boundaries, and I do want to do a video about boundaries. I will do it one day. Setting boundaries and journaling is quite important. And then mentally, I really want to speak more and see a psychologist more. This year has been really, really hectic for me. I did not know how I'm going to see a psychologist while I have a lot of work. because sometimes when I go there, I'm just like, I could have been using this time for something else. The fifth category is fun goals. Some of them I've already ticked off. It's picnic date. I already went on a picnic date with my friend. I'd really love a painting date and a solo date. I went to a solo date this year. I remember how it was wishy-washy at the beginning of last year when I wanted to go on a solo date, because I was so scared, like, why would I be going alone? There's so many fun goals that I have that it's not necessarily just crunch and work and get everything together, but rather fun goals like zip lining, bungee jumping, go for a photo shoot. I've never, like, at this big age of mine, I've never been to a photo shoot. I've never ever in my entire life been on a photo shoot, and I don't know how have I not been on a photo shoot. And yeah, man, another goal, another one that I haven't placed here has to do with a lot with your financial goals, and that's like business goals. What kind of brand are you trying to set? What kind of business do you want to have? Because at the end of the day, you are a business. You are a brand, and you have to represent yourself, and under that you have everything, like some kind of business ideas that you would like to venture into one day, even if it's not now, because we did say most our goals are something that continues and it doesn't stop because it's a new year. So yeah, basically that's that, guys. That's how I've divided my goals for the year. And what I do is that each and every month I focus on a different aspect. So like for 1 month I'm like, okay, how can I be a better student? The second month I'm like, okay, how can I find ways so that I can be able to save better? Maybe I might start doing like a weekly budget so that I can be able to know how I'm spending much more and allocate money for the specific thing. In month 3 I'm like, okay, how can I try and get to consume content in terms of my intellectual goals, like try to read more books. Where can I get more books? So each and every month I'm really just dividing it into subsections so that it's not too overwhelming, that I'm just like, you know what, my goals are way too overwhelming, I don't want to be part of anymore. So basically that's that. I hope you guys really do enjoy this video. Let me know as to what you'd like to see from me from this year going on. But yeah, thank you so much guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I'm gliding through all the lanes.